When we moved to the Big Island a little over 5 years ago, there were a few surprises waiting for us here. And one of these surprises was that this island is the home to the Vietnamese centipede, or the giant scolopendra. These lovable creatures look very scary. And just for the record, myself and a lot of my friends have been bit by these guys, and I can confirm that when they bite you, it hurts. It hurts a lot, and it hurts for a long time. So for those of you that are planning to move to the Big Island, I wanted to make this little video to tell you about this centipede, what it's like when it bites you, what are the after effects, and what you can do about it. And I know that there's people out there that are very peace-loving, and they're going to tell you that these creatures are amazing, so if you're going to see them in your house, you should gently catch them and release them outside. I am not like that. If I see one of these in our house, I am going to do my best to terminate it. But for those of you that are like me, let me tell you a little tip about these centipedes. They are very durable and resilient. The first thing I learned when I saw one of these crawling into our house is that they're very hard to kill. I was alerted to the presence of this multi-legged intruder in our house by the screams of my wife. So I came running over with a slipper, and when I saw the centipede, I smacked it. And when I lifted the centipede up, all that happened is that the centipede just bounced and it kept running. Except now it was running 4 times as fast. So I hit it again and nothing happened, it just kept running. I hit it like this 4 times and it just kept going. It almost got away, but thankfully I did end up killing it by using the edge of my flip-flop. Ever since then, I have gotten much better at this, so here's a tip for my fellow bug terminators out there. If you're going to try to kill this centipede with a flip-flop, you have to really put your back into it. You have to smack it as hard as you can, otherwise that thing is just going to get up and keep running. And if you're doing this on carpet, be mindful of the bounce, because after you hit it, sometimes that thing flies up and it might land on your hand. And if you get unlucky, it's going to bite you. Now, if you don't want to dirty your shoes with centipede guts, there are other methods of termination. One of the most popular ways to kill this seemingly armored centipede is to cut it into pieces, either using a knife or some scissors. I had another time when another big centipede crawled into our house. I took a pair of scissors and I cut it neatly in half. And the front half started running away that way and the back half this way. But then they turned around and they ended up coming back towards each other and attacked each other. So these two halves looked like they were fighting. It was really weird. But because they're so durable, cutting them is a lot more effective. You could also try capturing them with a see-through bowl, container, or even a jar. They're usually pretty easy to capture when they're just cruising around. Until you spook them, they're actually crawling pretty slowly. Once they're scared though, then they start running really fast. So before they get scared, you want to place this jar on top of them. Then you can just take a piece of paper, slide it under there, and you can flip that jar over. After you capture it, if you're feeling nice, you can go ahead and release it outside, or you can keep it and impress your friends with it, because this thing does have a long shelf life. If you leave it in a container, it's probably going to survive for a long time, especially if you occasionally feed it some bugs. And I know that some people like to flush them down the toilet instead of cutting them up or smashing them, and let me give you a warning about that. These centipedes are actually surprisingly good swimmers. So if you're going to throw it down the toilet, I would suggest flushing the toilet first. And as it's mid-flush, then go ahead and dump the centipede in there. If you put the centipede into a full bowl of water, it might swim its way up the bowl, and that's pretty creepy. Nobody wants that. And another easy method is to simply use any pair of pliers. I had a time when I used a pair of Knipex pliers to grab a big centipede, and when I lifted it up, it whipped around and it started biting down on the metal part of the pliers. And I could literally hear the cling, 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 cling as its pincers were trying to bite that metal. Imagine that being your finger. Yikes. And if it does bite you, what does it feel like? The easiest explanation is it feels like somebody just stabs you with a knife and the knife goes right through your hand or your foot wherever it bit you. And the worst part about it is that the pain does not go away after a couple of minutes. In fact, it might intensify. It hurts for days if you get lucky. And if you get unlucky, it hurts for weeks. And there is a reason why there's different lengths of time that the pain can persist. So I used to believe, this is what a lot of people teach, that the smaller the centipede, the longer the pain will last because it has more venom. And then the larger it is, then the less time the pain will last. But one time, as I was walking through the grass at night, I brushed past a big centipede and it bit me. but it did not actually sink its fangs in. So that's when I realized that centipedes, they actually have two different kinds of bites. They have a warning bite, and then they have the full-on, in earnest type of bite where they sink their fangs all the way in and they pump as much venom into you as they can. And the difference is, if you just brush past them and they feel slightly threatened, they give you a warning. They bite you just briefly and then they scurry away. But if you step on them, if you step on their legs or part of their body, then they're gonna whip around and sink their fangs in as deep as possible. And I think that's the difference. When I got that warning shot, it only hurt for about 2 days. But if you get bit by one of these centipedes with its fangs completely into you, then that is probably gonna hurt for weeks. So my theory is that it actually doesn't really matter how big the centipede is, it matters how hard it actually bit you. As for what can you do after you already got bit, unfortunately there's not much you can do except wait it out. There are some things you can do, however, to alleviate the pain. One common remedy is to put papaya, the inside of the flesh, onto the wound wherever you got bit, and that tends to alleviate the swelling and maybe even suck some of that venom out. Another thing you can try is taking some baking soda and water, mixing it together and putting that paste on the place where you got bit. That also helps alleviate the pain somewhat. And of course, ice packs are always helpful to reduce swelling and to numb the pain. If you know of any other remedies that you know are effective, it would be awesome if you could share those in the comments below. And another question is, how do you prevent them from getting into your house? One thing that I've noticed is that they're the most active at night. So if you go out at night into the grass with a flashlight, you probably can find one cruising around through the grass. So at night, as it starts to get dark, if you're trying to avoid these centipedes, it's best to close your doors and your slide doors so these things can't get in. The most effective method to keep these things out is, of course, pesticide. Many homeowners choose to just simply hire a pest control company to come and spray around their house every couple of months. There are some natural remedies that people claim to be effective. I have not tried any of them myself, so I'm not going to vouch for any of them. But if you want, you can try looking around. As I'm nearing the end of the video, I remembered that I totally forgot to tell you a story. So one time, me and my wife were sitting in the living room on the couch, and we see a big stinker cruise into the living room, and it went right under the couch. I got the flashlight, and I proceeded for the next 20 or 30 minutes to look for this scolopendra all over the place, everywhere under that couch, and I did not find it. I still have no idea where it went, but what I can tell you is that for the next couple of weeks, my wife and I would always raise our feet as we sat on the couch. I don't know if you can hear this, but my neighbor started mowing their yard, so I really have to wrap up. Anyway, that is all I had for you today. If you have any questions about these centipedes, you have suggestions, or you have a story to share, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. As always, if you're looking to buy or sell property on the Big Island, look no further. I will help you find the house with the least amount of centipedes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. And if you're still here and not in the comment section below, let me ask you a question. Why do the French eat snails? Because they don't like fast food. And did you hear about the guy that evaporated? He will be missed.